Redditors who've fallen from a significant height you thought would kill you. What was the experience like, and what were your thoughts as it was happening? I was leaning over a short rock wall while gardening this spring. I was extended out, and my foot slipped, and then my hand slipped, and I fell about 50 centimeters. Directly onto the edge of the wall with 225 pounds of me all catching a small pointy rock in the left rib cage. Hurt so much I fainted, woke up on the ground then got up and fainted again. Hurt so fucking much I wanted to die. Broke a rib or two. Bruised my lung. Bruised my chest. Hurt progressively more over 4 days, until I was bedridden for a few days. Couldn't cough or sneeze without breaking into a pain sweat. It happened so fast, but there was enough time to picture the rock under me and knowing it was gonna hurt a lot. 50 centimeter fall, and months later I'm just recovered. Embarrassing and way painful. I basically fell about 20 feet off a bluff, basically a sheer cliff, onto a gravel pile, the edge of which ended in another 40-foot drop directly onto a busy highway and certain death. The gravel pile was about incredibly steep, and when I finally stopped sliding my legs were hanging off. The only reason I survived was because I managed to grab a cactus, probably the only fucking cactus in Illinois. Then I had to climb all the way back up the bluff and jog about 20 minutes home. The reason I fell off the goddamn bluff in the first place was because I got assaulted by a horde of horseflies and fell. When I fell, I took out a good chunk of rock from the part of the bluff I was holding onto. It came within 4 inches of smashing my head like a ripe watermelon, and damn near broke my hand. I still have a scar from it. All in all, it wasn't fun. Well, I didn't fall from a significant height, but the way I fell I probably would have split my skull and broke my neck on landing. I was tearing down a building at my job. It was just a 1-story building, and I was up in the rafters, and I missed the support beam as I was walking across, and I fell headfirst through the ceiling, right over a horizontal bandsaw, and a concrete floor. All I could do was put my hands in front of me to catch myself on the bandsaw, and if my pant leg hadn't snagged on a strain nail I would have landed hard. All that force on my head and neck would have done some serious damage. Holy shit, I finally get to answer one of these. When I was 15, I made a stupidly rebellious decision to wear a revealing outfit to my theater awards gala. My dad and stepmom told me to change, and I refused. I was stupid and 15. We argued and my dad slapped me. It was hard enough to knock me to the ground, and it scared the shit out of me. My mom had given me the belt plenty of times, but I'd honestly never been hit in the face before, and especially not my dad. I had moved across country to live with him when living with my mom proved to be bad for my future. Anyway, I was scared and hurt and my stepmom took away my phone, so I couldn't call anyone. So I changed clothes, I undressed my bed, and I proceeded to tie all my sheets together and connect them to the closet door near my window. With all the adrenaline, it just didn't look that high. I thought if I could shimmy down a good 5 feet, I could lower myself and only have another 5 feet to fall. Very safe, I decided. So after I had worked out my plan and the sheet rope was out the window, I climbed out the window and was holding onto the ledge. I was just about to grab onto the sheets when my dad came in the room. He later told me he was coming to apologize. I was so startled and scared of getting in more trouble, so I just let go. I don't really remember the fall, only the thought that it was taking too long. It was maybe 5 seconds, but there was a dreadful understanding that it was too long. I landed on my feet, but crumpled up, and did that roll/groan/mumble thing you do when the wind is knocked out of you. But I got up and hobbled over to a neighbor's house. To this day, I have never felt that kind of adrenaline. I've been in car accidents and have done thrills and have even hurt myself again, but nothing comes close to that day. The body is truly amazing. I felt so driven and invincible while hobbling to the neighbors. In reality, I walked that 300 feet on a dual fracture pelvis and a fractured L2 vertebrae. I didn't know anything was really wrong until 30 minutes later, after the cops came. The sweet old couple who let me into their home gave me tiger balm for my back, but then I told them to call an ambulance. One of the scariest moments in my life was when the lady in the ambulance wouldn't answer my question, "Am I going to be paralyzed?" I asked because she would periodically poke my feet and legs and ask if I could feel it. Scared the fucking life out of me. Started going into shock and went through the trauma ward because I fell over 20 feet. Technically 23 feet. Trauma ward sucked. They cut off all my clothes and got a urine sample with a catheter and poked and prodded and yelled. Like fucking 15 people around little teenage me. Kudos to emergency workers. I could never do what they do. It ended with me in the hospital for 3 days. I wore a back brace and crutches for 6 months and spent the entire summer zoned on Percocet in my bed watching Food Network. It was satisfying cause I never ate anything. My dad and I had to go to counseling and it completely changed our relationship. It was hard. We both suffered from our own bad decisions, but we grew to understand each other. We are like old friends now, and he is the most supportive and important person in my life now. Because of this, I will never regret letting go of that window ledge. I would go through that 100 times if it would be the choice that led me to this relationship with my dad. I love him so much, and we have forgiven each other of so much, while knowing that we both would not take it back. Fell from about 50 feet once. The one thing I remember thinking is I'm still falling. Because those first 20-ish feet are panic and that upswing in your gut. After 30 feet I just kept thinking how far I'm actually falling and how long the moment felt. Then smack. Accidentally hit a jump going way too fast on ski ice and went horizontal. I watched the clouds go past and thought, well crap. This is gonna hurt. I woke up at the bottom of the hill with no skis or poles. My goggles were shattered and my head was cut up. I'm guessing one of my skis clipped me on my ride down, but I can't remember hitting the ground or sliding. Luckily I had no concussion. Was snowboarding and hit what I thought would be a small kicker, but with way too much speed. As soon as I was airborne, I realized my mistake. The ground kept dropping away, and I felt like I just kept going up. Then the falling started. I panicked and pinwheeled my arms, which didn't help anything either. Luckily, the landing was fairly steep, so when I hit, it didn't seriously injure me. I came down feet first, and it hurt from my feet all the way up my back. My knees just quit right away, and I ended up basically sitting down really hard, followed by a tumble down the hill. I don't know if it was kill height, but my nearly 40-year-old knees still remember what my 18-year-old knees did. Long story short, take care of your body, kids. All that stuff comes back to bite you long after you think you've healed. When I was about 8 years old, my older brother and I had climbed up to the roof of the garage. Been a few years, but I would estimate it was about 11 to 12 feet off the ground. We decided to jump down, and in my older brother's wisdom of a 12-year-old, he said I shouldn't land on my feet as I would break my legs. His suggestion was I land flat on my back, distributing the impact over a wider area. In my 8-year-old mind, this was good logic. After landing, I just remember lying on the ground for about 1/2 hour, trying to figure out if I was paralyzed from the neck down. Once again, my brother's wisdom assured me that, since I hurt all over, I wasn't going to be paralyzed. I've done lots of stupid acts since, jumped from high heights, but I stopped listening to my older brother. When I was 12 I fell off a cliff face that I was free climbing. I was on a camping trip sponsored by my school, Colorado. What can I say? I have rappelled down my high school, and some other kids had taken a hike that brought them round the other side of the hill and up to the top of the cliff. They started throwing rocks down, not knowing I was climbing up. Teacher started yelling from down below, and I looked straight up just in time to see a small rock hit the cliff face about 6 inches from my head. I freaked out, and I lost my grip, so I fell almost directly down the cliff face. I couldn't scream or move. I could see rock face rushing by. I remember thinking about trying to grab the cliff face, but luckily I didn't try, because that would have been really dumb. So glad my arms refused that order. I landed on my feet, sort of, and promptly collapsed backwards, and rolled down a gentle slope, until I hit a tree. Camping trip, over. No more free climbing, fuck that. I'd guess I was about 30 feet up. That was what the teachers told my parents, but who fucking knows. About a month ago I went to jump off a cliff into the river. There was another cliff about 20 feet below that I needed to clear to hit the water. As soon as I jumped off the top cliff I knew I wasn't going to clear it. The fall seemed to happen very slowly, and I could only think about how bad it was going to hurt. Surprisingly, I didn't break anything, but tore up the cartilage in my knee, and had surgery a few days ago to fix it. Had nightmares about this for a few weeks. I was chasing this bird along a desert highway and he's kicking up quite a dust cloud. Next thing you know, I've missed a curve, and I'm standing in midair and the cloud clears. There's the bird back on the shoulder at the edge of the cliff. He looks at me and goes, meep meep, and flickers his tongue at me, which makes a weird sound, and I fall, about 400 feet, 121 meters. Which you would think would be the end of me, but I went on to chase that bat many more times. Parachuting with a round top army style parachute, i.e. you can't flare. About 50 feet up, I got a sense of how fast the ground was approaching and thought, well, I just broke my legs, and then slammed into the ground. Was very surprised not to have broken anything. I then had to repeat this experience 3 more times to get my jump wings. It sucked.